Okay, I started.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so please listen and look. Okay, so this is my cup that I started. I put it on a banding wheel so I can see all sides. You can see it's like a little bit plump on one side. Before I got to this stage, I went ahead and went on the wheel and I just trimmed the bottom a little bit on the wheel. So that's something you can do if you want to. And this spot right here, this is where my two pieces came together. So that is kind of an ugly spot on the cup. So I'm going to put my handle there so it's a little bit covered up. I've smoothed it out. I don't have any seams showing. You guys can see there's no seams showing here. I thinned out and I flared out the rim. If you look on the inside, you don't see any seams in there. It's scored and slipped and smoothed a lot. Okay, so I'm ready to do a handle. I rolled out a thinner slab a few minutes ago, and I went ahead and I smoothed it out with a sponge and some water on both sides. And now I can take a knife and I can just go ahead and cut. I'm going to cut a pretty long strip, more than I need, I'm sure. And then I also have, these are really handy handle shapers. So when I look at this, I sorted through my box and I have a big mug. So I picked a big one of these. This is going to be a good negative space, I think, for such a fat, large cup. So I'm sort of just looking at this piece of foam right here and holding it. I don't want it to be above the rim. I could have it a little higher, like a little closer to the rim, but I kind of like just covering up this seam a little bit. So I think I'm gonna probably place this right here. So I cut myself a strip, and when you're making a handle, a lot of times the design gets a little thinner at the bottom. So I'm going to make my design kind of follow that a little bit. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit. That's like probably a little bit thicker, wider than what I need. Okay, and now this edge is going to be kind of sharp if someone tries to grab it. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth that out before I shape this or try to attach it on or anything. Okay, and I'm just going to start, this is pretty nice and soft so I can bend it pretty easily. I'm going to hold it right along the edge here. Got a little bit of cracking happening so I can fix that before I try to secure this. Just putting a little bit of water on my fingers is helping it to attach there. Okay, and then I'm going to test again, see how that looks. Looks pretty good. My clay, I cut it a wee bit short, so I think this is not going to be like a perfectly straight one. I'm going to try to follow that, but I'm going to attach this like right in there, I think. And once I get this attached, even though I'm going to score and slip and everything, I don't want to pick it up by the handle until after it's fired, because the handles are going to be weight-wise a lot smaller than the cup. So if I try to pick this up like this cup is kind of heavy, this handle is fairly light, that's not going to work very well. So I'm going to go ahead and start scoring here with my scoring rib. And I'm trying to hold that angle that I like, and then I'm going to put a little slip on that area. Just letting it sit for a second there. Okay, and then I want to mark and so I can score and slip where I'm going to put this on. So hopefully that slip will be like gooey enough that it will leave a little bit of a mark there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now I have some gooey slip I can see, so I can go ahead and score those little spots where the gooey slip was. Okay, I'm going to spin that around so everybody can see. So I scored where I plan to attach the handle. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some slip. I'm being pretty generous with the slip. Okay, and then I'm going to get this in place. Sometimes people like to leave the little foam part in there for a couple minutes, and if you feel like you need to, you can do that. I don't think I need to on this one. So first I'm just compressing. So I have my hand on the inside to create some resistance there, and I'm just compressing the handle in there. I think I need something underneath, so I'm going to use this for a minute. Because it wants to sag down a little bit. I don't want it to do that. Okay, now I want to start working on making sure that stays really well attached. So I'm going to start with some slip on the paintbrush and seal that on. Again, this part, getting your handle really well attached, is super, super important so that when it comes out of the kiln, it'll be nice and secure. And it's all like score, slip, blend to get it to stay on. Having the banding wheel, I think you guys will find that helpful, so you can work on. Right now I'm just fixing some little baby cracks that were showing up on this. And I'm trying to also kind of remember the negative space that I want, so this is going to be like a man-sized cup for sure, for someone with big hands. You can probably use your whole fist to pick this guy up. Alright, I'm trying to get into those little gaps and seams with my slip and make sure that all stays well attached. And now I'm going to move my sponge out of the way so I can get underneath here too. Because I want this part to have a nice edge as well, so I'm going to cut this down a little bit here. Get rid of that extra clay, don't need that. And then I can make sure I spend some time smoothing here on the bottom, and I want to fix that. It has a little, like a little asymmetry there. Okay, and now I'm going to slip this right here at the connection. Now, I often will make a little coil and blend that in on a handle when I'm making my cups at home. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that too, because I think that helps. That seems like it's going to hold, but I'm just going to put this underneath just to be safe. I also have some pieces of foam that we can cut up if we need to. Okay, so for the little baby coil, I'm going to take one of these little scraps of my slab that I don't need. And this is kind of like the most minuscule coil ever. I can get it to roll. Little friction on my hand. There we go. Okay. So this is a coil for like, that's an inchworm size coil, right? Alright, so now I have my little baby coil, so I can push this in here and then use my fingertips or like the end of my paintbrush. I'm going to use my paintbrush here to blend that in. And I'm going to make sure that I do this on the underside and the top side of the coil, or of the handle here. That way this will have a nice sort of extra secure area for the handle. Basically, if the handle breaks off, I throw away the cup. You can never glue it on again. It's going to be sharp. It's going to be dangerous. Okay, I'm going to take this one and put this under here. Get rid of that little extra there. Blend that in really well. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on this bottom connection after I get this one where I want it to be. So nice and clean and smooth. Okay, so let's do a bottom coil. So this is like a double coffee sized, I think. And someone, I don't know if it was this class or in one of my other classes, someone said, if I want my mug, I think it was in my third block, if I want it to be a little bit smaller, can I trim it down? And yes, you can. Just keep in mind it's going to shrink. So as it dries and gets fired, it is going to shrink. And they shrink officially like 13%, but to me, it always seems like a lot more than that. All right, I got that one in there. I'm going to pick this up gently so I can reach and blend. Just using a little water for the blending part right now. I don't need slip because I've already slipped it. Okay, and just like you want to be really perfect as you are scoring and slipping on your attaching the mug together, you also want to do that with your handle so that your handle stays nice and secure. And the more time you can spend smoothing this, oh, I see underneath here it needs to be smoothed a lot more. And looking at the piece from all different angles, the more satisfied I think you'll be with it when it's all done. Okay, so that's looking good. I want to let this dry a little bit before I do my final like smoothing. If I just let this sit for like 10 minutes, it'll be a little easier. On the bottom, I'm going to put my initials, my class period, and then I will go ahead and let this dry. And remember, don't try to pick it up until after the handle has been fired, because you can see math-wise that would be disastrous. All right, thank you.